Hello and welcome to The Explainer. I am so incredibly thrilled you're here with us today. Look, we're focusing on a crucial and honestly a pretty heavy topic for ministry leaders today. But don't worry, we are bringing a totally tactical, hope-filled blueprint to the table. We're going to explore exactly how you can help the hurting members of your congregation through a partnership with Restoring Hope Ministries, or RHM. If you've ever felt the sheer weight of complex pastoral care and just kind of wished you had a trusted, structured safety net for your flock, well, you are in exactly the right place. So let's dive right into this.
Okay, so here's our roadmap for today. We're going to start with the silent crisis happening in the pews, then move on to what it means to become a county hub. After that, we'll look at the partnership commitment tiers, walk through the actual steps for launching your care pathway, and finally, look at the real transformation and impact this all has.
All right, Section 1, the silent crisis in pews and the absolute burden this places on pastoral leadership. Let's just acknowledge the emotional reality right out of the gate here. Pastoral burnout is incredibly real, and congregant needs are getting more complex by the day. As leaders, you carry this massive load. And the truth is, most churches have people quietly struggling with some really profound issues. We're talking grief, anxiety, broken marriages, addiction, trauma, and a lot of these folks, they're suffering in total silence.
Which brings us to a pretty hard-hitting question. Where do hurting people in your church actually turn when you or they can't afford professional help? It's a tough one, right? Without a clear, trusted pathway, these individuals just kind of fall through the cracks. They might keep suffering in silence, maybe they leave the church entirely, or they might end up turning to secular resources that just don't share your biblical foundation. We know for sure that isolated, siloed care doesn't work. It just leaves people to navigate their darkest moments totally alone.
To really capture the shift from that isolated pain point to an actual solution, listen to this quote from a senior pastor up in Wisconsin. He said, "Before partnering with RHM, we had no clear pathway when someone in our congregation came to us in crisis. Now we have a trusted referral and real support for our pastoral staff. Several families in our church have been restored because of this partnership." I mean, that's exactly the problem we just talked about, right? Answered with some amazing real-world proof.
Moving on to Section 2. Becoming a county hub and partnering for coordinated care. Because RHM absolutely doesn't believe in siloed care, they actively build community pathways so hurting people are never left out in the cold.
And at the very center of this model is what they call the county hub. So what does it actually mean to be listed as a designated county hub on the RHM website? Essentially, it means your church enters a structured, formal relationship with Restoring Hope Ministries. Your shared goal is to strengthen local access to counseling, provide top-notch discipleship care, and, this is a big one, establish ethical safeguards right there in your community. You basically become the local connector for biblically faithful help.
Now, you might be wondering, what are the actual requirements to become a county hub? Well, RHM takes a highly structured, safety-forward approach, which honestly should take a huge weight off of church leadership's shoulders. The expectations are super clear. First, you need to uphold Christ-centered unity and humility. Second, represent RHM's scope accurately, and we'll touch on what they do and don't do in just a minute. Third, maintain safe ministry environments. That means having appropriate facility use and solid safeguarding practices. And fourth, support subsidized care based on whichever partnership tier you select. It's really a covenantal posture of shared stewardship.
All right, Section 3, the partnership commitment tiers and subsidizing accessible care. Let's get into the nuts and bolts of how this practically and financially supports your congregation.
So, the magic number here to remember is $100. In the RHM model, every $100 partially subsidizes one counseling session for a family in need. So, for example, it might take a $150 individual session and knock it down to $50 out of pocket. Now, they don't offer completely free counseling, mostly because the research actually shows that having a little bit of financial skin in the game really improves engagement. But here's the brilliant part. Any unused subsidies roll directly into a scholarship fund for future use. Nothing is wasted.
Let's look at how your monthly commitment directly translates to those subsidized sessions, along with some seriously practical benefits. At the support tier, $250 a month covers 2 sessions. Step up to the Mercy tier at $500, and that covers 5 sessions. The Barnabas tier, which is actually their most popular by the way, is $1,000 a month. That covers 10 sessions and gets you an annual workshop. But check out that equipping tier at $1,500. It gives you 15 sessions plus a sponsored trainee seat in their 9-month biblical counselor training. Think about that. You are literally building your own in-house capacity. Talk about a game changer.
Okay, Section 4, launching your care pathway with a 30 to 60-day blueprint. We've covered the theory, so let's get highly tactical. How do you actually get this off the ground?
If you're ready to launch your care pathway within the next 30 to 60 days, here are the exact 5 steps you need to take. Step 1. Designate a partner liaison. You just need a point person to be the primary contact. Step 2. Confirm your hub listing details for the RHM website. Step 3. Review the partner manual with your leadership team so everyone is crystal clear on exactly how referrals will be routed. Step 4. Identify how your subsidies or scholarships are going to be authorized and tracked. And finally, Step 5. Choose your internal communication plan. It's totally doable.
Actually, let's hover on that last step for just a second, because it is so vital. You need to ensure your internal communication plan includes bulletin copy and web page statements that reflect the correct messaging standards. It's so important to accurately talk about RHM to your congregation. The great news is the partner manual actually hands you sample blurbs you can just drop right in. It makes it incredibly easy to communicate clearly without accidentally overpromising what the pathway can do.
Finally, Section 5, Real Transformation and Impact and Safeguarding Your Flock. Let's look at what actually happens when you set up this kind of safe, structured, and ethical care. To truly safeguard your flock, setting clear ethical boundaries is absolutely crucial. So let's be super clear. RHM is supervised biblical care anchored deeply in Scripture, and it is business hour triage and stabilization. But on the flip side, RHM isn't secular psychotherapy, and it definitely isn't a 24/7 emergency response service. For those immediate life-or-death emergencies, it's always going to be 911 or 988. Having these very clear disclaimers out in the open is what reassures your leadership and keeps everyone protected.
And let me tell you, putting all this structure and planning into place, it is so incredibly worth it. Just listen to this from an elder board chairman out in the Midwest. He said, quote, "We watched a young couple on the verge of divorce receive biblical counseling they couldn't afford on their own. Their marriage is restored. The value is immeasurable." I mean, wow. That is what real transformation looks like. Lives and families being totally saved, all because a church decided to step up and put a structured care pathway in place.
So, as we wrap up today's explainer, I want to leave you with a thought to chew on. Galatians 6:2 calls us to carry each other's burdens, and in this way, you will fulfill the law of Christ. So, what step will you take today to fulfill that calling and carry your congregation's burdens? Please don't let the hurting people in your pews navigate their crises alone. Take action, look into these partnership tiers, and get your care pathway launched. Thank you so much for hanging out and learning with me today.